halfway point of the season, and we are in Bern. Oscar Folstad on pole from Daf Sanchez and Pablo Sierra. Tommy starts 4th from Vastian Tan and Marcus Nelson. Santino Milan is 7th from Babinus Jr. and Bogdazarov. Then you've got Remy LaBelle, and the man 2nd in the championship, Revo. 12th is the man in 3rd in the championship in Sebo Campa. Then you've got Zach Wallace, Denali Gabo, the Red Devil, and Mohamed Nawawi. Enoch Yu starts 17th from Zaylane and UK Ball. Then you've got Akari Lopez, Pierre Gasly, and Leo. Well, after Zaylane's first point last time out, he will want to capitalize on that, but he's further back. All 5 lights go on here in Switzerland. And the Bern Prix is green, and that's not the greatest of starts from Pablo Sierra from 3rd position, and it wasn't actually that good of a start from Daf Sanchez. They rise up through turn 1, Folstad having his entry very much compromised, and Arcue getting a 5-second time penalty, and a lot of contacts. Out of the race goes Zaylane. Oh, he's upside down. He's on the roll hoop. And I don't think his head made any contacts, so he should be okay. But he is upside down, so we've got a virtual safety car. And Ocampo's overtaken Remo. Switch for positions, which could be very, very much important later on, but Folstad is still head in the field. Here in Switzerland, we go back racing, single file restart as Pierre Gasly almost wanting to change that. I don't think a lot of drivers are going to get attack mode here, even though everyone apart from Folstad should be in attack mode distance. Attack charge in use for an OQ, and I think the guys using attack mode, no one back there using attack mode. It's silly me, it's the opening lap, you're not allowed to use attack mode on the opener. But we look to Daf Sanchez, who is trying to close in on Oscar Folstad in front of him. Trying to get as close as possible, but I don't really know whether or not he's going to be able to make it. So they now come through the final turn and rise back up the hill. In Bern, with 12 to go, Folstad leading from Sanchez and Sierra, with Nelson in 4th position, yet to take his first race win of the season. In fact, all of the top 3 have all taken a win this season. It's just Nelson who hasn't, out of those who are scoring more than 10 points. And you know what, speaking of Nelson, let's take a look at the Dane, currently in 13th. Now he's trying to close in on Pablo Sierra. He's going to get attack mode, but I also think that the Spaniard in front of him, he might also get attack mode, which will hinder his charge. And just noting, Ocampo and Revo, they didn't have the best of qualifyings, and they're really paying for it. They're not making up any ground. And Sierra in 3rd, holding up Marcus Nelson. Off the 2nd sector goes to Folstad, and I'm going to have to take a break here to get some water. And we're back. It's lap 3 of 14, and not too much has changed from when I've last been here. But you can see UK Ball closing in on Leo, who overtook both Braun Hondas. Honestly, there's just not too much that's actually happening here. It is basically single file racing so far here in Bern, as we are on board with Santino Milan, driving for Nissan Nismo. And look at that, the soft tires on that red Nissan car. You can see there's a little bit of blistering happening. Could that imply that we could see some punctures happening later on? That's the intent. didn't mention this because I didn't see it until now. He's got himself up into third ahead of both Pablo Sierra and Marcus Nelson, as well as Douglas Jr., who's now trying to latch onto the back of this fight for third position, possibly even second, but Falstad has checked out. He's 1.7 seconds out in the lead. UKable's gotten himself past Leo as they now come up the hill, and Falstad has dived into the pits, so now we're seeing an influx of drivers setting a new fastest lap. So many drivers out there on soft tyres as they now come through the opening turn, and into the wall there is Bastian Tan. Tan wall riding and losing his front wing. He's gonna have to come into the pits. I guess that McLaren were gonna pull him in anyway, as we see UKable rise the hill, miss the wall thankfully. As closer you are to that wall, closer you are to retiring from this race, and Bastian keeping his car in a straight line. That's the good thing that we're seeing. And Ocampo is coming to the pits at the end of this lap as well. And a lot of these drivers currently in the lower positions are hoping that a virtual safety car comes out, and oh, someone's got a puncture there, and it's Revo! I don't believe it! For the second weekend in a row, the Italian will likely not score points. And both times it's not been his fault. Both times he's not been the one to blame. And he's been taken out by Oscar, who's been given a 5-second time penalty, and that's the biggest wreck I've ever seen. Here and oh, he's out as well. Hit by Babinus Jr. That's scary. That was scary. They both went airborne. It's a virtual safety car. My goodness me, I hope I don't see anything like that again in this race, because if we do, it's only going to get worse from there. But all 3 crashes in this race have been airborne. Guess that's Switzerland then, as we look to the Red Devil, the man currently in 3rd position, as Zach Wilson and not Q follow him down the hill. Wallace still yet to score his maiden points, and unlike with Zay Lane, who has issues with the car as Babinus changing the front wing, unlike Zay Lane, whose car is not quick, for Zach Wallace, that is a car that has been proven to get many points in this season alone. So it just looks to me as if it's a combination of bad luck and sorry, but a bad driver. Daniel Bogdasarov, he's got attack mode, closing in on Tommy, who won last time out. I feel like I have to add, he's going for 2 wins on the bounce. And for the Venturi team, who's never really looked as if they were going for the World Drivers' Championship or the Constructors, more just looking for where and when they can get race wins, and almost like they were supporting the DS team, the DS Automobiles team. And now Techeetah is into the wall. Zach Wallace losing his front wing. He rounds the final turn and comes into pit row. And we're on board with the 51. Medium tyres going on to the car, and out! And not you! Virtual safety car, he hit the wall on pit entry! And he's out! Now, this is something I don't get. Race Direction has just put out a virtual safety car, as we now go back racing, instead of just closing the pit lane when you've got an incident like that. Which is kind of weird if you ask me. But Tommy is now leading this, and Bogdasarov did come into the pits. Ocampo is going to try once again to get some good points on both Revo and Falstad. He's 40-ish points off the championship lead, still certainly in this championship fight. And he wants to take a 3rd championship in a row. Not even in a row. He'd like to take a 2nd in a row in his 3rd career championship. Falstad is looking for a 2nd. Revo is also looking for that missing ring. And Zach Wallace, further down the order, getting a 5-second time penalty for colliding with the back of the Mercedes driver in front of him. do that too much, and that can cause a lot worse problems. They've got a massive fight for position as Sanchez now into the lead as Tommy does pit. As, Pierre Gasly up in 7th now. This is one of the highest running orders. Oh, out! Who's gone out? Oh, it's Steph Sanchez! Sanchez facing the wrong direction! He's out! Oh my, Remy LeBeau for the second time this season takes the 27 to the race lead at half race distance. Bastian Tan is currently second from Pablo Sierra and Marcus Nelson. Nelson, the only champion on the grid who has not won a race since... Actually, no, that title actually goes to Akari Lopez, who's had the longest win drought. Because Nelson, he won while he was driving with apps. But yes, this is his first season back in the championship, and he's yet to win a race. Hopefully he can get something done. And I just remembered that Akari did win in season 19 as well, as you can see further back. Bob Dasarov trying to make some moves further up the order, to try and get himself further up the order rather. As Bastian Tan, 7 laps to go, 5/10 of a second back on this man, Remy LeBeau, in the 27. And virtual safety car, Tommy out of the Prix, and he's just been sent into the wall, it seems. Doesn't look as if he's been hit by anyone. It just seems to be a problem he's had on his own. He must have hit someone else. I'm not too sure who or what he might have hit, but that is the Venturi driver's day done and dusted. With 6 laps left to run. Remy LeBeau leads with Ocampo, Gasly, and Gabo coming in. And Gabo, this could be a very early stop if you ask me, because I don't think he should have come in for another stop, but I'm not the strategist down at Sims Motorsport Nissan. But we go on board with Bastian, who's trying to close in on Remy LeBeau. Remy, who's already taken his first career race win back in Buenos Aires at race 3. That was his 3rd ever race in the championship, but he won that due to a penalty. Imagine if he were to win this race today, not just according to the final classification, but also according to where he finished on track. That would be absolutely brilliant for Kira Raceco in their first ever season in the championship. It is still their first season in the championship, may I add. Season 20. And this is the debut team that we've got. And we've got yellows in the 3rd and final sector. Someone's had an off. And who's it for? As you can see, Ocampo and Leo dueling over 11th position. Ocampo getting the better of him there. Remy comes in. Is anyone else going to come into the pits at the end of this lap for their second or first stop? In comes Mohamed Awawi, and he's missing a front wing. He's the reason we had those yellow flags, and he's going to go into soft tyres. Fabinus Jr. getting a track limits warning as he now dives into the pits with some very torn up, shredded even, soft tyres. And it's his 3rd stop of the day. As we look to Marcus Nelson, now diving down the hill in 3rd position here in Bern, Switzerland. He's been doing an admirable job this season so far, but it might just be so much better if he can return the number 13 back to victory lane. But look at that from the Red Devil, late lunge, and that's shuffled Santino Milan down to 6th position. He now fights the Bottasarov and hits the wall! And that's the wall! Santino gets hit by Zach Wallace there. And he's got a time penalty. Not too sure if he accumulated it from that incident alone. We go back racing through the 3rd sector. But for Milan, I don't think he can blame anyone else but himself and his tyres. Probably should have come in earlier as Bastian pits. So Pablo Sierra leading the field from Marcus Nelson and the Red Devil. And you can see they're definitely struggling when it comes to grip coming through turn 1. Turn 1 and the entirety of the final sector is where you need grip the most to keep it out of the wall, because especially in that last sector, it can feel a lot like a street track. And we've got yellows. Pierre Gasly, 5 seconds. And I think one of them might have hit the wall. And I'd hate to say it, but it was Remy LeBeau who was wall riding there and someone else hitting it. Is that Mohamed Awawi? That is Mohamed Awawi. And he has hit the wall. UK wall keeping it out. Milan keeping it out. But Babinus Jr. not being so lucky. He's lost his front wing. And Mohamed Awawi, thankfully, he has not lost his front wing. But look at this. Nelson, attack mode. But with some very, very worn tires. He's probably heard over the radio what's happened to Milan when he tried to make a lunge with some very, very worn tires. So I'm pretty sure that, and the experience that Nelson has, I'm pretty sure that's all telling him not to make the move yet. I think the focus is currently just defending from the Red Devil a lot more than attacking. Pablo is, late from Bogdasarov. In come the top three, the former top three. Bogdasarov now leads the field on lap 11 of 14. 3 laps left to run. Zach Wallace comes into the pits as well. Ocampo goes up into second place. Second place for Sebastian Ocampo. He's had some really good comeback drives, and he's out in the race! Commentators' curse is real. Sebastian Ocampo is out in the top 3, top 4 even in the World Drivers' Championship. All out of this race. Babinus Jr. has come into the pits for his 4th pit stop of the day. And he'll come out on softs. Bogdasarov is the only man out there on mediums. And if you're still on those soft tires and you didn't pit recently, you might want to check again. Because, for example, Tenali Gabo, he's got a lot of blistering. Pit lane closes at the end. Actually, no, at the start or end. Yeah, no, it closes at the end of the penultimate lap. As you can see here, that's the intent. Getting past Remy LeBeau, sending it down the inside, keeping it clean, of course. Remy, however, coming back at him, lunging back on the 22. Lot of weaving from the Frenchman. Can he keep it out of the wall? He does, but he has to relinquish a second position to Bastian as they come through the quad apex turns. As Bogdasarov pits, this is now going to likely be the fight for the lead, and Remy is out! Remy LeBeau out of the E-Prix. It's another virtual safety car. As on to lap 12 we go. I do believe it should be Bastian from Sierra and either Nelson or Bogdasarov. As many other drivers coming in. Bogdasarov coming out of the pits, and he is ahead of the Dane, who is now just thinking, how can I win this race with only 2-ish laps to go? That is the question on Nelson's lips, most likely. At the very least, it's how can I get myself onto the podium, knowing how much carnage has happened here. And I'm just going to point this out for Renault Edams. A double podium today would be actually pretty cool to see, and also very good for the team itself. Renault, when they rejoin this championship, before this and after season 1, Renault Edams' only real notable thing that they did was bring an OQ into the sport. But look at this from Pablo Sierra, lunging down the inside and taking the lead once again this season of an E-Prix. This time out we're in Bern and not Rome, so that 77 might be a genuine threat for podiums and race wins. And if he can play his cards right in the next 10 races, he could probably go for the championship that he missed out on last season. So on to the penultimate lap we go. Pablo Sierra leading the field from Bastian Tan and Daniel Bogdasarov. Marcus Nelson is 4th from the Red Devil, who's wanting to try and change that. We've got yellows, and it's for Pablo. Pablo Sierra has hit the wall. He doesn't have damage, thankfully, but virtual safety car Zach Wallace will not score points today. His day is over. His Sims Motorsport car was on the racing line. They've just about cleared that up in time, and it's a virtual safety car once again here in Bern, Switzerland. And after those 10 races, after this first half of season 20, his debut season, Zach Wallace officially has the worst record of any of the rookies here. He has no points to his name and only 2, I think, finishes. As you can see, Bogdasarov trying to make it a 1-2 for Renault Edams as we're now back racing, and he does get himself up into second. Bastian soft tires beginning to hamper him, as Marcus Nelson trying to make this a 4-way fight for the lead. The gap between first and fifth is 1.52 seconds, and I think that's mainly down to the Red Devil dropping off the back. Here comes Nelson looking to the outside, too close to the wall, just about doesn't hit it, and goes round the outside on Bastian's hand, but still doesn't make the move. So on to the final lap we go. Attack mode for Marcus Nelson, none for Bastian's hand, and it is going to be P3 for the Dane on the final lap of this race. UK will currently up in 6th position. This could be his best finish of the season so far. He's going to need finishes like this, but there goes Milan, and here comes Gabo. There goes Gabo down the inside and up into 7th. 8th place would still actually be UK Ball's best finish of the season, but it's still not going to be quite the good finish that Braun Honda have seen many times before in their existence in this championship. No attack mode for Marcus Nelson. We've got an inter-team battle instead. This could go right down to the line, because down the inside comes a Frenchman of Daniel Bogdasarov, who takes the lead in Bern. But his teammate Pablo Sierra still right with him. If they collide, if anything goes wrong here, Marcus Nelson will be ready to pounce on his first win of the season. But it should go to Bogdasarov now. Sierra has dropped off the back. So coming down into the final turn, it's a Renault Edams 1-2, a return to season 1 form. Bogdasarov wins in Bern. Sierra is second from Marcus Nelson and the Red Devil. A 1:16.763 is the fastest lap set by Daniel Bogdasarov. Bastian Tan came across the line in fifth, and finally points, more points for Sims Motorsport Nissan, who come home in 6th with Gabo. Gasly is 7th, Milan is 8th, UK Ball 9th, Akari 10th, Nawawi 11th, Leo 12th, and Babinis Jr. finished in 13th. I'm not going to go through the running order again after the podium ceremony, just because I've said it all already. But Bogdasarov wins in Bern. And considering that I don't think we've got a race in Paris this season, this might as well be as close to a home race as he gets. It's a 1-2 finish for Renault Edams, something that I don't think we've seen since season 1, and that stranglehold on the FEMC. Pablo Sierra finished in 2nd with Marcus Nelson coming home in 3rd. Then, I've said this already, so you can just take a look for yourself. So in the drivers' standings, Volstad leads on 126 points from Revo on 100 points on the dot. Bogdasarov 2 points away from Revo, and he's 18 points ahead of Sebastian Ocampo. Nelson's 5th from Daf Sanchez and Tommy. Then it's Pablo Sierra, Remy Lebeau, Babinis Jr., Bastian Tan tied with both the Red Devil and Enoch Q. Then you've got Tenali Gabo, UK Ball, Santino Milan, Leo, Mohamed Nawawi tied with his teammate Zay Lane, Kari Lopez, and Pierre Gasly, with the only man yet to score any points in this championship being Zach Wallace. So in the constructors' standings heading into the next round of the championship in Sao Paulo, Brazil, DS Techeetah leading the way, 10 points ahead of DS McLaren TGR. Then you've got Renault Edams, 10 points ahead of DS Andretti. Then you've got DS Venturi, Kiro Renault, Nissan Nismo, Sims Motorsport Nissan, Braun Honda GP, Aurelio Pinnacle, 10 points ahead of Mercedes EQ. We'll see you guys next time then when the Formula E Monposo Championship returns.